European troops began arriving in Greenland on Thursday to conduct reconnaissance missions aimed at exploring security options amid Trump annexation threats.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado has given her Nobel Peace Prize medal to Donald Trump, saying it was a recognition of his commitment to her country's freedom.
Latvian defense minister told Euronews he's confident the US-Denmark dispute over Greenland is not the end of NATO.
European military personnel began arriving in Greenland on Thursday just hours after meetings between US, Danish, and Greenlandic officials in Washington. The meeting failed to resolve what Denmark's foreign minister called fundamental disagreements over the mineral-rich Arctic nation. France, Sweden, Germany, and Norway announced on Wednesday that they would deploy military personnel as part of a reconnaissance mission to Greenland's capital, Nuuk. Germany's defense ministry said in a statement that the mission aims to, quote, explore options for security in light of Russian and Chinese threats in the Arctic. The ministry noted that a team comprised of 13 Bundeswehr members were sent to Nuuk from Thursday until Sunday at Denmark's invitation. French President Emmanuel Macron said Paris would deploy more land, sea, and air forces to join military exercises. The heightened military presence comes as U.S. President Donald Trump remains insistent on taking over Greenland, citing U.S. national security concerns. The threats gained weight following Washington's stunning military operation in Venezuela, which toppled and captured President Nicolas Maduro on the 3rd of January. Denmark's top diplomat said the meeting indicated that Trump still clearly wishes to, quote, conquer Greenland, and stressed that a U.S. takeover of the Danish territory was absolutely not necessary.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has presented her Nobel Peace Prize medal to U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House. She also discussed her country's future with Trump after he had questioned her credibility to lead the country. Machado's gesture came despite the organizers of the Nobel Prize saying it had no official meaning and would not be recognized.
I presented the President of the United States the medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, and I told him this, listen to this. 200 years ago, General Lafayette gave Simón Bolívar a medal with George Washington face on it. It was given by General Lafayette as a sign of the brotherhood between the United States, people of the United States and the people of Venezuela in their fight for freedom against tyranny. And 200 years in history, the people of Bolívar are giving back to the heir of Washington a medal, in this case a medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, as a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom.
Despite the gesture, the future of Venezuela remains unclear. Trump has effectively sidelined Machado, who has long been the face of resistance in Venezuela. He instead signaled his willingness to work with acting President Delcy Rodriguez, who had been Maduro's second in command. Trump styled himself on social media as the acting president of Venezuela and said he would be in charge of controlling oil proceeds from the country. He claims it would be difficult for Machado to lead because he believes she doesn't have support within the country.
It is not the end of NATO. In an interview with Euronews flagship show Europe Today, Latvian Defense Minister Andris Spruds sought to play down concerns about potential tensions within the Atlantic Alliance following threats by the US it could use military force to annex Greenland.
Everybody understands the importance of collective defense. Everybody understands the importance of NATO as a strong alliance. And this is mutually beneficial for both, for the United States and for Europe. That's why I am absolutely believe and confident it's not end at all.
Spruds noted that NATO, of which the US and Denmark are both members, has long managed internal disagreements without undermining collective defense. But talks between the US, Denmark and Greenland earlier this week ended with the Danish foreign minister telling reporters that President Donald Trump remains intent on conquering the semi-autonomous Danish territory.
I would not over-dramatize. Of course, now we are in the process of discussing, especially the dialogue between the United States and Denmark. We see also in NATO sometimes there are some dialogues or discussions among countries. We know already for some time there is the discussion interaction between Greece and Turkey, but it doesn't mean that it somehow undermines NATO.
The minister added Latvia stands ready to join other European countries in sending troops to Greenland as part of the Arctic endurance exercise it requested. Spanish singer Julio Iglesias says he rejects recent sexual harassment allegations against him. "I deny having abused, coerced or disrespected any woman," the 82-year-old wrote in a message posted on his Instagram profile. Earlier this week, two women who said they worked for Iglesias in 2021 claimed Iglesias sexually assaulted them while they were working at his residences in the Dominican Republic and the Bahamas. According to the account of the alleged victims, Iglesias exercised absolute control over them and abused his power with behavior they describe as constant sexual assaults and humiliations. Following the revelations, the prosecutor's office of Spain's National Court decided to open a preliminary investigation into the allegations in one of the cases.
Splashdown of Crew 11. After 167 days in space, Dragon and NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fink, Kim Yayoi of JAXA, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov are back on Earth.
我觉得这个 APP 的设计初衷是很有意思的，但是它收费了。如果是免费的，可以下载玩一玩，然后或者说收1块钱可以玩一玩，但是8块钱有点多。
感觉年轻人对这个需求不是很大，因为年轻人和家里其实联系还是比较频繁，但主要就是老人，因为他们可能用社交媒体，他们用的不是那么顺，但是那个死了吗 ？APP 不是说就是打个卡就可以吗？那个就是操作比较便捷。
The water in the early stages of the baths was apparently not very clean. It's not surprising because the water was supplied by a water lifting machine. So you must imagine there was probably a slave running in a kind of hamster wheel, lifting up water buckets and supplying the baths with water. Well, the building of an aqueduct is something very expensive, even at that time. And you can compare it to building an airport in modern times. Yes, in Roman time, in early imperial time, the society was getting more richer, and each city wanted to have an aqueduct. You must imagine that the aqueduct of Pompeii was probably fed from the so-called Aqua Augusta, and that's a giant aqueduct. It's about 120 kilometers long, running from the Apennines all the way to the Bay of Misenum, west of Napoli, and it supplied something like 10 cities with water, with branches running from that central aqueduct.